Hi everyone. This is going to be another big one for me tonight. I understand that this band is very important, very influential, and it has been on my list for quite a long time. It's one of the bands that so many of you have been urging me, saying you should listen, you need to listen, hurry up and listen, and that is Iron Maiden. Well, before I go to Iron Maiden, let me remind you, you can always check out my Ko-fi and Patreon pages. And you might want to check them out right now because I've started doing a weekly live meeting with on those platforms where we gather and listen to music live together. And it's a lot of fun. And we're even able to listen live to the Beatles recordings. So if that interests you, check it out, see what the offerings are there. Well, of course, I have some paragraphs that Vlad has prepared for me to read, little background information about Iron Maiden. So let's read those and then we'll continue. Iron Maiden are a British heavy metal band formed in Leyton, East London in 1975 by bassist and primary songwriter Steve Harris. As pioneers of the new wave of British heavy metal movement, Iron Maiden released a series of UK and US platinum and gold albums. Their three most recent albums, The Final Frontier from 2010, The Book of Souls 2015, and Senjutsu 2021, have all reached number one in more than 20 countries. That's impressive. Okay, they were formed in 75, and 2021 was just a couple years ago, so they are current, active, and big. Iron Maiden have sold over 130 million copies of their albums worldwide and have obtained over 600 certifications. The band is considered to be one of the most influential and revered rock bands of all time. According to Guitar World, Iron Maiden's music has influenced generations of newer metal acts, from legends like Metallica, which I've listened to current stars like Avenged Sevenfold. Haven't even heard of that one yet. Other renowned bands which were heavily influenced by Iron Maiden are Slayer, Anthrax, Megadeth. Did I listen to Megadeth? I think I did. Judas Priest, Nirvana. I've listened to something by Nirvana. Alice in Chains, that's one. Lady Gaga, and Miley Cyrus. On the other hand, Steve Harris, Iron Maiden's bassist and primary songwriter, has said his influences included Black Sabbath, Deep Purple, Led Zeppelin, all three of which I have listened to at least one song, sometimes more. Uriah Heep, haven't gotten there yet. Pink Floyd, lots of Pink Floyd, The Wall. Genesis, Yes, Jethro Tull. I'm starting to get a little bit of a repertoire under my belt, so to speak. Thin Lizzy, UFO, haven't gotten those yet. Queen, definitely. And Wishbone Ash. Journalist Jeff Barton says the band's music constituted an important passage between the classic heavy rock school during the 1960s and 1970s, based on rhythm and blues, and contemporary heavy metal, characterized by subgenre diversification and stylistic eclecticism. Well, yeah, it's an important band. Hallowed Be Thy Name is the final track on Iron Maiden's 1982 album, The Number of the Beast. So this is going to be, maybe I could say, one of their older classics. The song was written by bassist Steve Harris and has been acclaimed as one of the greatest heavy metal songs of all time and is also considered one of the band's signature songs. You know, I'm a little bit eager to listen to this because I used to be a little bit intimidated by the label heavy metal, but somehow I get the idea that this might be worth paying attention to. The Number of the Beast is among the most popular heavy metal albums of all time, having sold almost 20 million copies worldwide. That's impressive. Well, before I listen to this piece of music, I'd like to make a little change in the studio. Don't worry, it'll take just a second. From this to this. It's a real improvement, isn't it? It makes the ambience warmer, friendlier, more inviting, more in tune with music. Yes, a company called iFootage has sent us lights. More lights. even more lights and some tripods and, of course, more lights, along with some soft boxes. They didn't pay me anything, they just sent the products, but I will say that Vlad is impressed by their quality considering their low price, and he's done all sorts of experimenting with them today and says the combinations are virtually infinite. So these small lights come in 4 different colors, and we decided to put them back there for a nice backlight. They are even magnetic. And then these big lights have some very silent fans to keep them safely cool. And it seems they are an incredibly close replication of natural light. And of course, they come with bags for safe, easy transportation. Anyway, we're very happy with this improvement, and I'm sure you are too. So take a look on iFootage website. You'll find the link here and in the description. And I'm sure you'll find some very useful products there if you are looking for light. Well, now let's go back to Iron Maiden and I will get my first taste of the band.
When the bell begins to chime, reflecting on my past life, and it doesn't have much time, 'cause at 5 o'clock they take me to the gallows pole. Time for me are running low.
Okay, that was an incredible opening musically. The bell chime, I loved it. And then even when he said the sands of time, what was it that happened there? The sands of time. The music changed.
The sands of time for me are running low.
Yeah, here. That probably it's this and this when that bass guitar comes in and gives this gritty sound as if it's a very ominous stream of sand, as in a sand timer. And I love the imagery that I'm hearing in the music. I'm waiting in my cold cell when the bell begins to chime, and the bell is chiming even before he starts to sing, reflecting on my past life, and it doesn't have much time. Because at 5 o'clock they take me to the gallows pole. The sands of time for me are running low. I mean, this opening is really incredible. So let's keep going because that was great.
Time for me are running
And what wonderfully long-held, sustained vocal notes. I mean, okay, so I'm just barely into this, and it almost sounds like I've planned to be amazed, but I haven't. I am just hearing things from the very beginning that I love. I love the expressive quality of his voice, the way he's shading different pitches and words to give this incredible delivery of the story here that's coming out. And then when he sings low and it goes on and on and on, I did not expect that. Not at all. And I love it. First of all, he's sustaining it very well. Second of all, after we hear bum 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 da da dum bum 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 bum, these kind of shorter notes in the riff, and then we have the bell chiming and this delivery of the melody, and then finally the sands of time are running low, and it goes on and on and on, and I keep expecting him to stop and take a breath, but he goes further. And then when he finally takes a breath, I expected the next thing to come, but no. Back to low again, and another long held note, and it was great. It was really great. Okay, enough. Let's keep going. Nice. Kind of running here. So I said nice because what's happening is we have this really great. So the imagery, the painting of the text is incredible in the song. That's what's striking me as being so like the strongest point of the piece, the most obvious in your face. They're painting the text incredibly well. The next verse that we just listened to, can it be there's some sort of error, hard to stop the surmounting terror? Is it really the end, not some crazy dream? I mean, you can hear the fear in the way, in the melody, the way it's delivered, and the rushing onslaught of rhythmic drive behind it. And then after he's done singing that verse, this little figure here, which repeats and repeats and repeats, and it feels like you want to run, like you would just love to run away, to escape, to climb the walls, to get out somehow, and over and over and over and over again. But then, as it's building this sensation within us, we get to this next section here. This is where I said, nice. Why? Because it's basically the same figure, only there are certain points at which it's paused, it's made to delay. And so then it becomes not just an emotive running figure to make us feel stressed out and like we need to run away to escape. It becomes a musical figure which is being developed a bit. I've talked sometimes about how sometimes rock music doesn't really feel like it develops something musically. This is doing a bit of musical development because it's taking it from, well, let's see, could I make this work on the harp? Possibly. We have... Yeah, that's it. It doesn't quite sound as frantic and frightened, but it's there. Oopsie, let's see. That actually fits pretty well under the fingers. And then, when we get to this next part, we have the same note. You hear it's the same notes, they're just tweaking it a little bit. We pause here, and then instead of walking around to get up, instead we just sit, and then we run up, and then we run back down, and so it goes. You know, as I'm playing this, it's reminding me of what is it? I've played it on the harp. It's an orchestral piece. It's the Moldau by Smetana. Listen to the opening of the Moldau, and you hear the strings running up and down, and the flutes, and it's these two. Well, it's another. We call it a tone poem, something that paints an image and tells a story in music, and what it is representing in the opening of that piece is the origin, the source of the Moldau River, which is two streams coming from two different locations. And you can hear in the instruments the two streams flowing, and then they gradually blend and begin to flow into one. But this figure is incredibly similar to that. Be kind of a fun, interesting comparison.
It sounds Celtic on the harp.
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty basic musical figure. It could be adapted to multiple styles. Already we're seeing that here. Change the instrumentation, change the pacing, the tonality. But how did I even get here? Anyway, let's keep listening. Pitches are changing a bit. And underneath we just have this very consistent drum.
Time is closer, and maybe then you'll begin to understand.
get into the guitar solo in a minute, so I'm just pausing to talk about what I've heard so far. Well, basically, they have continued using basically the same harmonic outline, and they are varying it a bit, but it continues to build this feeling of dread and suspense and kind of frantic outburst, which fits the lyrics. And I had to turn and look at the lyrics a couple times to be able to keep up with what he's saying. This is quite an impactful, quite an intense, we could say heavy-duty story picture that we're seeing here. Somebody on his way to the gallows pole. I guess there are a couple questions that come to mind. A couple things aren't clear in this song, and it doesn't really matter, but at the same time, the questions come anyway. First of all, at the beginning, I'm waiting in my cold cell when the bell begins to chime. And then he mentions at 5 o'clock, they take me to the gallows pole. But I'm not told what time he's hearing the bells chime. Is it 12 o'clock? Is it 4 o'clock? It doesn't tell me. And it doesn't really matter. But at the same time, it's a question that came to my mind. What time? How much time did he have? And that is something that is evidence of how well it pulls one into the story. Because when you start feeling, oh, how much time does he have? How much time? You feel like you're getting emotionally invested in the story, and the music is part of what's making that happen. And then the other question that I had, well, now I have to find it. I guess I'll come back to it, because let's keep listening. Sounds kind of like we're feeling a fast-paced passing of time here. Like we don't have time left. There's this riff, this constant figure which is coming back, and it's at a rapid driving pace. Dum da da dum da 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 dum da da dum, and the drums and the bum dee 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 dee. It feels like, it's our heart beating quickly. It's the pressure and the stress and the tension that's building. I noticed in this guitar solo that there was a moment where it said, first it said solo Dave. I didn't paid that much attention to it. I figured, okay, it's telling me who's playing the solo. But then partway through, it says solo Adrian. And I suddenly realized it's a solo that is being shared by two guitarists. And I was suddenly interested to try to figure out, can I hear the difference between them? They passed it off so smoothly that if I hadn't seen the name, I wouldn't have known that it was two different guitars. It was such a smooth transition and really well done. I feel like this solo it's not just a gymnastics exercise. It's not just a technical pyrotechnics show. It is an expression of what we heard in the lyrics up to this point. This it's hard to stop the surmounting terror. It's not easy to stop from screaming. There were moments when the guitar sounded like it was letting out this scream and this sadness. At the same time, it's not a slow, depressed kind of sadness. It is the kind of sadness, the kind of terror and scream when you're facing the end of your life quicker than you wanted to. And that brings me back to the other question I couldn't think of a few moments ago. And that is, it's not clear in here whether he is being taken to the gallows through some crime he's committed or if he's unjustly being executed. It doesn't really tell me. But again, it doesn't really matter. When you're facing the end of your life, you're facing the end of your life. That's it. So, but again, it's one of those questions that came. I wish I knew more of the story. I wish I could understand a bit more about what's happening here. Well, then it's up to us to fill in the story and interpret it according to what makes sense to us based on what we're hearing with the musical expression. That was abrupt. Incredibly appropriate, right? If you are going to the gallows, things end rather abruptly. I guess I'm feeling a bit pleased with myself. Because I just listened to a heavy metal piece of music and I enjoyed the singer's delivery. I enjoyed his voice. I felt like it was incredibly appropriate, incredibly musical, and I was not distracted by any stylistic traits that are less familiar to my ears. He did such a good job of it. And maybe it's partly because I am getting more familiar with the genre, and it's probably also partly because his tone is quite clear. It is very clear, but he handled the power and the intensity so well, and he shaped it so musically. So I did actually truly enjoy listening to his voice in this song. Well, I had talked about how the riff sounded as if it were being developed musically a bit. It actually ended up not going the way that I thought it could go, but that doesn't mean it's a problem. It was fairly consistently handled throughout. Variations, not so much development in the classical sense of the word, but this is not putting on any pretenses of being a classical piece, so that's totally okay. It's interesting that this was written by the bassist. I was curious to see if there were going to be any bass gymnastics, and well, I didn't notice anything really shockingly bass attention grabbing, which I guess from my perspective is a compliment to the composer, in that he has created a piece of music which serves its purpose and isn't, shall we say, an ego trip for his particular instrument. It's incredibly well balanced and well presented. Well, I said, as I was starting to listen to this piece, I was getting ready to listen to it, I was kind of eager because I somehow felt like it was something that would be worth digging into. And I was not disappointed, although I didn't really know what to expect. I still feel like the opening, the first portion of it, is absolutely incredible. The entire thing is great, but the opening, I guess, was what really caught me and pulled me in. And I'll probably return to that opening to listen to it a few more times and just really dig into that. As far as the message and the story, it's told in a fairly factual manner, meaning it's not a set of lyrics where we have to dig and try to figure out what is being said here, what is being meant. It's a story. Of course, it's incredibly well told, I think, for, even if we just take it absolutely literally, what is somebody feeling as they're facing the end of their life? Whether it's through a crime they've committed or a misidentified individual. But I think that this is about more than just that. Although I think it's up to each one of us to decide how are we going to apply it. I mean, but the idea, as we come to the end, when you know that your time is close at hand, maybe then you'll begin to understand. Life down here is just a strange illusion. And then this idea, yeah, hallowed be thy name. The yeah is kind of like, okay, yeah, you can say that over and over and over again, but really, when you're facing the realities of life and death, all the fluffy, fuzzy words and everything, the whether it's religious or philosophical ideas, the tropes and the cliches that we throw out so easily when somebody else is suffering or going through a difficult time, when we go see that ourselves and we look face to face at the frailty and the mortality of human life, things start to look a bit different. And I guess that's what I find being the most powerful element of this song, is that when we're face to face with our frailty and our mortality, things look a whole lot different. What a great song. And I guess I will be returning to Iron Maiden. I know I will be. I don't know exactly when. But I will be looking forward to the return. I know this is one of their signature pieces. Maybe there's the signature song. But it's a great experience. And I'll be looking forward to when I get to explore some more of their work. I'll see you soon.